change in your life if you were to release all the expectations you have of anything or anyone to turn out or behave in a certain way? What if you were to let go of needing people to present in a certain way or needing situations to turn out just the way you want them to turn out? What will actually shift in your life? Did you probably let go of a little bit of suffering? I'm going to be sharing more on this in this video, so tune in for that. My insights, and I'm also going to be giving my tips on how to go about releasing certain expectations so that you're not constantly making yourself suffer for no reason. Okay. So, hi, my name is Eva. I'm an intuitive healer. I work with two modalities. One which is called soul realignment, which is actually about connecting you to your true soul identity, helping you to realize what unique gifts that you have to offer to the world, what unique gifts you can actually leverage in order to awaken your authentic full potential and let the world experience you as you, and also helping you release any blockages, any stories, any patterns that you might be causing through the choices that you take on a daily basis. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing more on that at the end of this video. And the second modality I work with is called quantum flow, which is all about rewiring your nervous system. Because a lot of people don't know that healing doesn't just work on the mind, you gotta also incorporate your body in the healing process. With quantum flow, you actually get to target different areas of your life or different aspects of yourself, from a physical, mental, emotional, in order to awaken your full self, your true self, and actually get to what is it called? Tap into well-being in different areas of your life, physical, mental, emotional well-being. But again, I'm going to be sharing more on this at the end of this video. So again, if you're curious about how these two modalities can be a game changer for you in your life, in your healing journey, and help you accelerate your growth, your transformation, your evolution, and help you awaken your full, truest, most amazing potential, then you might want to stick until the end to find out how these two modalities can be an answer to you. So I always start my videos by sharing how my lesson for the week. And the reason I do this is because I'm so invested in growth, in evolution, and I love sharing how I've grown in the last week because I'm always focused on being the best version of myself each and every day. At least I try to. And I want to share this so that I can encourage you to also start doing the same for yourself. Don't live the same life over and over again and then sit down and wonder why things are always not changing. I mean, if you want better results or new results, gotta start doing things differently. And the only way to do it is to ensure that you're actually intentioning to grow and transform yourself on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, whatever it is, whatever works for you. But don't be the same person that you are when the year began. Like we are at the end of 2024, and it's crazy because it just feels like we began 2024 just the other day, and now we are at the end. Like, that's crazy. And I love to know, what have you actually learned? How have you actually grown in this last year? Most people tend to forget, and you tend to focus so much on the shame and the guilt of things you shoulda, coulda, woulda wanted to do this year, and maybe you didn't accomplish. Maybe you haven't really stuck to your New Year's resolution, but I'd encourage you to really look back at your life. I mean, I catch myself nowadays that I find myself in certain moments, I'm like I'm going through a certain situation, a certain trigger or something like that. And I'm looking back, I'm like, the me from 1 year ago, the me from a couple of months ago, would probably not have handled this situation as composed or less triggered compared to how I was like 3, 4, whatever months ago or years ago, right? That's how I track my progress. Most people don't do that. You focus on all those things that you haven't done. What about the things that you've accomplished? And this is what I want you to focus on, okay? So my lesson for this week was literally that. Again, living in the present moment and choosing your highest choice in every moment. What do I mean by this? For example, when it comes to procrastination, self-sabotage, and all of that, maybe you have a choice between going to exercise and scrolling through social media. The easy choice would be scrolling through social media. That doesn't require a lot of work and definitely is not going to be painful for you, right? And most people are usually, remember, your mind is geared to protect you no matter what. So as long as you have that mindset, like exercise is going to kill you, it's so hurtful and all of that, your brain is going to do whatever it takes to keep you away from that. So there'll always be something else more tempting to get you to tap away from that thing that your mind perceives to be painful. You're always going to have these choices. So this week, my lesson was to really be aware and intentional in every moment to try and pick my highest choice. I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still starting, I'm still training myself on that. But once you're aware, because most people don't even bring that awareness, you just find ourselves because it's something you've trained and you've fed for so many years, for such a long time, that breaking those patterns is not a one-time thing. Like you're not just gonna wake up and boom, I'm no longer scrolling through social media. It might take a couple of steps. Not a lot of people can have that kind of focused mindset that when they're done, they're done. It usually happens with taking small incremental steps. So for me, it's just having awareness at that moment when I'm about to make that choice. And I'm like, oh, okay, so the choice is between that my mind perceives to be painful, and this that might actually is actually, yes, gonna feel good in the moment, but not going to help me in the long run. Then I do my best to choose the best and highest choice for me, even if it seems to be painful in that moment. And it's a learning progress, okay? And I love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you want, you can actually start incorporating this in your life and just tell me how it goes for you. That the minute you're aware, instead of doing that thing that you know very well you're using as a distraction, how about you actually take effort or steps to do that thing that you're trying to avoid? And you know, something else I've also discovered this week that once you actually get started, whatever task it is that you're trying to avoid, you can't stop. So the thing is to get yourself going. Don't avoid it because it's so much worse in your mind than it is in actual reality. So if it's exercise, maybe you're avoiding, go pick up the dumbbells and just start, even if it's like 2 reps or something, that's something. And you know you'll find yourself just pushing yourself a little bit more to keep on going. So the thing is, always get started on that thing that you're trying to avoid. That was my lesson for the week, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And also, how have you grown in this last week, in this last day, in this last month? To share in the comments, because you never know who you might actually inspire to change just from your perspective. I believe that everyone's perspective can help probably another person. Maybe not me, but probably someone else might be reading that message and it just impacts them in a beautiful way. You don't know what power your words can actually have or what transformation your words can actually have just by sharing them. So share in the comments and let's learn, let's grow from each other. That was my lesson for the week. So expectations, releasing expectations. I'm sure you've had this phrase. And funny thing is that I was actually watching a movie this week that actually highlighted this, that the best way to avoid disappointment is not to accept or to have expectations of anything. And I always hear that statement, and I find it to be really sad to go through life in such fear of feeling disappointment to the point that, you know what, just to keep myself safe, I'm just never gonna ask for anything. I'm never gonna expect anything from anyone or any of that. That's a very, in my perspective, a kind of like negative reaction. Yes, it seems like you're protecting yourself, but you're literally also protecting yourself from all the good things that could happen for you, which is not what I'm talking about in this video. When I'm talking about expectations, right? We always have expectations. I think that's how we're geared to go through life. And it takes a certain level of mastery to let go of that need or desire to have expectations of anything. So what do I mean by that? You know, you wake up in the morning, you expect not to have traffic on the road, and then you meet traffic. You wake up, probably you're going to go buy something from a shop or something, and then you find like you weren't expecting that. Your expectation was no traffic, no queue. I'm just gonna go bam 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 and I'm at work. You get to work, you're expecting your coworkers, your boss to be, welcoming, your clients to be amazing and all of that, and then you just meet that one person who just happens to push your buttons. You aren't expecting that, right? And it really, really disappoints you. Maybe you're waking up, you expect your family members, the people close to you to act certain ways, and then they end up disappointing you. Again, going against your expectations. So when I'm talking about expectations, I read a beautiful quote from, Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh, that a lot of our suffering is caused by our expectations for life. So again, I'm not saying that expectations, release expectations so that you prevent yourself from disappointment because probably dealing with disappointment is also part of it. I'm just saying that the reason why we have disappointment again, which I know it's a paradox, right? Is because we're expecting so much from a certain situation. We expect it to be good, right? We always have that expectation that it's gonna go this way, and then when it doesn't, boom, the whole world is destroyed. And I understand I might be going round circles, but Let me just try to put this into perspective, right? Let's say you wake up in the morning. If you read about the people who actually managed to somehow save themselves from certain tragedies, right? And they tell you that, I woke up in the morning, I ended up stubbing my toe, or my car broke down in the street and all of that. They were not expecting for that to happen. So in their mind, they're thinking, holy crap, I'm going to be late for this and this and this. But in actual reality, had everything gone to plan, probably they would have ended up in a really bad situation. So that happening to them was actually a blessing in disguise. When I'm talking about expectation, I'm saying that how about you just take situations as they are and maybe believe that everything that happens is always happening for you, not to you. What do I mean by this? Having the belief system that even if it seems like things are not going your way, trusting that in the end, whatever happens or whatever outcome manifests after that is always going to be for your greatest good, even if you're not able to realize in this moment right now. Because sometimes that realization comes 3 months, 4 months, a year, years down the line. And then you just wake up one day and you're like, holy crap, had that happened, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And that's what happens for most of us. When I'm talking about expectations, it's really trusting that whatever happens, even if it doesn't seem to be the best outcome right now, trusting that wherever it leads you, it's going to be your highest and best path for you. Okay. You lose your job probably. And I know I've shared this in some videos on my channel, but it's a beautiful, beautiful way to look at the world. You lose your job. Of course, you're not expecting that to happen, right? You lose your job security, you can't pay your bills and all of that. And then in this moment, it will be the worst thing that ever happened to you. Then you check yourself, probably months down the line, you probably figured out a new, better path for yourself. Maybe you found an even better job, better than anything that you're experiencing in your current job. Or maybe you even started your own company, something that you will never have had courage to do had this job not been taken away from you. So when I'm talking about releasing expectation, it's always trusting that your highest good is always going to occur. Again, even if it seems like it's not happening in this now moment. So it's not to avoid disappointment, because disappointment is something that maybe just comes naturally. That's okay. The trick is don't let yourself wallow in it. Most people get stuck in the wallowing, oh, poor me, and the victim kind of mindset and being disappointed and getting angry and then taking that out on people, other people. You've met people who have road rage, right? They're in a rush to get somewhere. You happen to be delaying them, and then they're busy insulting you because you're driving too slow and all of that. That's them taking out their anger because the expectation is, I need to get to this place so quick, and anyone who derails me is my enemy. So I'm going to attack them, right? And that's not how to go through life. It's just, even if you get triggered, yes, accept the trigger, because maybe triggers is something you can control. They just come naturally. So I've never been an advocate of avoiding emotions, right? Let yourself feel those emotions. Let yourself get angry. Maybe I will not tell you to act on it, because your emotions, when you're emotional, anything that you do in the emotional state is never going to be the best thing for you. So obviously don't act out from emotion and a super emotional state. But I'll say that let yourself feel those emotions, but then also embody this perspective that even if I don't know how it's going to happen, I know the reason this has happened is always for my highest and greatest good. That's it. And then let the universe surprise you. And funny thing is that you might even encounter even worse things, ahead. I'm gonna share like an example that happened to me just last week, which probably inspired this current, material I'm talking about. That I woke up, have you ever had those days where everything is just not going your way? That was me on that particular day. So I'm supposed to go for my niece's birthday party. I'm the one delivering the snacks, I'm the one delivering the cake and all of that. And I still had a couple of errands to run. So I get into a car. The car ends up taking me to a place I was not supposed to go to. So I have to walk all the way back to where I was supposed to go to, which took me 1.5 hours away from, the time that I had projected from that. That didn't go as expected. I end up going to the banking hall and all of that. And again, delayed for over 30 minutes. I think it was even, no, it was over 30 minutes. Again, I was not expecting that. And when you're looking at it, trust me, there was no reason for me to have been delayed in that situation, but I had no choice. I had to wait. Not that there was a queue or anything, it was just people were not, I want to say, given that expected, hurried service. They were taking their sweet time, which of course, when you're in a hurry, when you meet those kind of situations, it's just like, oh, I need to get here, right? And that was me. But I just caught myself feeling that, that kind of like impatience and be like, okay, cool. I don't know why I'm here. And this is what I was repeating in my head. I'm like, I don't know why I'm here, but I know I'm here for a reason, even though I can't figure it out right now. And I waited. Okay. It took me way longer than I expected to actually get to my niece's birthday party. And I actually ended up arriving there like 3 hours later than I had actually projected. And I had actually, not kept my word to her. But when I get there, yes, I'm late and all of that. But whatever transpired after me coming, my niece ended up telling me that it was the best thing that could have ever happened. So she was actually disappointed with me earlier on because I had not come at the time that I had promised I would come. And I told her I'm sorry and all of that. But later on, she comes and tells me, thank God you came late, because if you hadn't come late, I probably wouldn't have had this different way of celebrating my party, and having fun with my friends. Probably it will have gone this other way, but this way was way better. So even if things didn't go for me as expected, in the end, it turned out even better than I would have expected. Had I arrived there at the time that I had projected I would arrive there, probably the way she celebrated her birthday maybe would have been different, but maybe it wouldn't have been the better experience compared to what she had when I came late. So in no way am I trying to justify being late for anything, but I'm just saying that sometimes, even if the reason does not seem apparent to you, you'll just get to the end and wake up one day and be like, okay, now I get why I had to go through losing that job. I get why I had to go through losing that partner. I get the reason why I had to be stuck in traffic. I get the reason why I had to be stuck in that queue. There's always a good reason, even if you can't see it. And sometimes it's not also about you, probably also someone else's answer there. Something else I tapped into the other day that sometimes you might find yourself in certain situations, not because it's for you, for your own benefit, but because your kindness or something about you is going to inspire someone else, then you needed to be there. Sometimes you don't even know. It might not even be about you, it could be about someone else. But again, if you have that belief that even if I don't know or I don't see the reason why this is happening, again, everything is only happening for the greatest good of myself. And again, the greatest good of everyone around me. So those are my thoughts on this, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this. What do you think about this? How will your life change if you were to let go of all expectations that you have? Not to avoid disappointment, but really to just, again, one of the tips I'd give you if this is one of your struggles is to just be in the moment. So I've already shared the whole thing of just trusting that everything is always happening for your greatest good. The other thing I would say is that also be in the present moment and trust me and trust that whatever it is that you're going to encounter in the next moment, you'll have everything you need to actually handle that situation in that moment. What do I mean by that? Maybe you're stuck in traffic, you're so terrified that your boss is going to find out. He's going to get angry and something bad is going to happen to you. You already have that belief system of everything is always happening for my greatest good. So you keep that in mind, okay? And then stop projecting that fear. Remember that future, that thing that you're scared of, it's all happening in your mind. It has not happened yet. So you don't know what you don't know. You don't know if your boss is going to get angry. You don't know what's going to happen when in that moment. How about you let it go and then deal with it once you actually get there? So when you get to the office, so many things could happen. Maybe your boss didn't even turn up for the day, ended up being delayed somewhere else. Maybe your boss is in such a good mood, they don't even realize that you actually came late. There could be so many better expectations, but as long as you're projecting that fear to that worry to that particular situation, guess what? You're going to manifest that. Do you want to create that for yourself? No. So live in the moment. That's another way you can handle this. Live in the moment and trust that whatever it is that you're scared of dealing with, once you get there, you'll have everything you need to actually handle it. And probably even that thing you're worried about is never going to happen. And even if it does, you have everything you need to actually deal with the situation as it is at that moment. So that will be my tip. Again, share with me your thoughts on this in the comments. And subscribe to my channel, like the video, share the video, that really, really supports me. And also I love to hear your thoughts on what you would love for me to talk about on my channel. So share in the comments and I will be happy to do my best to oblige to that. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning in. I did share, promise that I will share at the end of this video what quantum flow is and what soul alignment is. So I'm just going to share my screen for a bit. Okay, and there it is. So soul alignment is basically a modality that is based on working with Akashic records. I had mentioned that, accessing your own Akashic records. And when we access your own Akashic records, we're actually determining who you are at soul level, helping you determine your true divine nature, your gifts, your purpose in life, the things that you can actually tap into and leverage to create your human experience. So a lot of people don't even know what unique quality, what makes them unique, or what gift they actually have to offer in the world. We live in a world that teaches us to try and be like someone else. And actually, your greatest power lies in you being your most authentic self. It's so relevant you actually get to connect with how that authentic part of yourself and how you are meant to be showing up in the world and not getting lost in what the world is telling you to be. So it's so relevant. It's about realigning you to how you show up in your human experience to your original divine soul blueprint based on how you were originally created. A lot of us have lost touch with who we were created to be. Again, based on all the choices, the negative choices that we've made that have taken us away from our true soul, divine nature. Okay. So it's so relevant. It's taking you back to who you were originally created to be, comparing you to that, right? Who you are right now to that original blueprint, and then helping you release all these stories that are no longer you, all these patterns, all these things that you picked up in all the lifetimes that you lived that are no longer who you are supposed to be. The core principles in soul alignment is about giving you again practical, useful information that does have transformational value. We live in a crazy informational age. There's a ton of information, and you can get lost, in the digital world with access to all this information. It's so relevant. It's really fine-tuning this experience. So not just giving you information for the sake of you having information that, oh, that's who I am. No, I'm going to be sharing with you tips and insights and helping you determine like how you can actually incorporate the aspect of you into your physical reality based on your choices and your actions that you take on a daily basis. So transformational value always happens at the level of action. And so relevant, you're going to get to fine tune that so that you're actually taking actions that are aligned to who you are and not based again on what society is telling you you're supposed to be. Of course, it's about free will and choice through self-empowerment and taking personal responsibility. So again, it's so relevant, it's really helping you take your power back. Remember, you've lived for so many lifetimes, making negative choices because probably you felt like you had no choice but to go along with what was expected of you. It's so relevant, it's giving you that power back because right now you have awareness that whenever I make this choice that goes against who I am, guess what? I'll only create dysfunction in my life. And if I don't want dysfunction in my life, even if it feels difficult in the moment, let me make a choice that is aligned to my true self because I know that's going to pan out in the long run compared to me taking the easy route right now, but then end up suffering in the long run. So it's taking your power back and taking full responsibility again for the life that you've created that one. And then, of course, you'll also be receiving a soul level healing through the Akashic records. So we're going to be clearing all these negative blueprints from your energetic blueprint, your soul blueprint. But remember that this is just an energetic healing, but we live in a physical reality. And the way to actually fully heal is through taking different choices, making different choices. If you go back to doing the things that you've always done, guess what? You create the same patterns again, which is not what I will assume that you'd want for yourself. So who is this so relevant for if you're feeling stuck in repetitive negative patterns, if you're struggling with self-identity, experiencing constant roadblocks and challenges, and you don't have a clear cause and solution for this, so relevant can actually help you get to the root cause of that. If you have difficulty understanding why certain relationships or situations to repeat, sensing that past trauma or unexplained fears are influencing your present life and all of that, so relevant can actually be a good fit for you. Hold up. Let me just go to the other screen.